Hey everybody, welcome back to the Snake Pit. I'm Snake, and today we're talking about Equalizer Wars. Alright, welcome back. I had a great response from my first video. I thank you so much for everybody who took time to put some good comments and to ask more questions and dig a little deeper. I'm very excited about it. I'm glad that some of you are as well. What are we going to do today? Well, like I said, I'm going to start delving into War Equalizer. And this will be one of 5 new videos. So I'm going to start with this one because we're currently in Arrow Barrage, and we're basically half a week away from Equalizer coming out. So I want to make sure that you're up to date on this war type, and I'm going to try to keep ahead of that curve as well. So for those that subscribe, you're going to get an instant notification and know about it. For the others, I'm glad that you're getting the information, but you may get it a little bit later than you wanted it. So just a reminder, you can subscribe and to get these right away. I'm going to try to plan these out so that they do come out in time for the next war type. With that said, let's go into what this war type brings. So War Equalizer, it's one of the new ones. It wasn't one of the original war types that was out. It removes all status effects and stacks from all heroes. So that's both sides of the fence. It's dispellable and undispellable buffs, ailments, and stacks. So every 3 turns, it gets wiped clean. And it gets implemented right after the attacking team finishes their 3rd turn. So what does this mean for you? It means that a lot of effects that you may count on normally are not going to linger long. Your buffs are going to disappear probably before the timers expire that would normally expire after the amount of turns, and that works the same thing with the ailments that you cast on the other team. But what's safe in these war types? Well, boosted health is safe. It's not a status effect. Same thing on the other side though. Reduced health will linger as well. And minions. That brings up an interesting point. I mean, it's a good way to put up, in essence, some synthetic HP, if you will, because they'll take some of the brunt of the blows that are coming your way. So you really got to make sure of who you're bringing. I mean, the popular belief, of course, was that heroes that will do well are the ones that are going to do direct damage, not a damage over time, or they do a direct heal or boost to health over a heal over time. We'll look into this. I will have all that information when I put out the videos about the individual heroes, and you'll be able to make your comparisons. But I'm going to give you a spoiler. So I know that we already mentioned that minion heroes can be effective, and this for many reasons, because it gives you a little bit of a buffer for that hit that's coming in. They don't get wiped out by the War Equalizer. On the downside, there's a lot of anti-minion heroes out there, so this doesn't always work. But anyways, back to the spoiler. I'm gonna give it to you anyways. I was gonna hold it back, but just as an example for how to play within these rules and to make things work for you. So I've looked at the numbers for the most popular taunters. Of course, there's not that many, but Krampus, Black Knight, and Queen of Hearts. Ludwig, I do have some data on him. But seeing as he came towards the end, I don't want to mix those numbers right now because I don't have as much on him. But for the record, he looks very promising. But let's focus on those other 3. Krampus and Black Knight their averages are well above what Queen of Hearts is in the other war types. But in this particular war type, teams with Queen of Hearts are actually more successful than they are with Krampus or Black Knight. And there's a simple reason for this, is that people that use Queen of Hearts are playing within the rules, or they're leveraging the rules of Equalizer, because her taunt comes from a minion as opposed to an effect. So when the Equalizer hits after the third turn, Krampus and Black Knight lose their taunt, whereas Queen of Hearts, hers keeps going because it's tied to the minion and the minion doesn't go away. This is just one example of where you can adjust your team to be more effective in this war type. Okay, so let's get right into the stats. This won't be as long as the first video, where I explained a whole lot more about the methodology of the war study itself. And by the way, if anybody hasn't caught my first video on that and you want to understand where these numbers are coming from, I'm going to put the link right down in the description so you can click on that and have a look, so you can keep up with where the numbers are coming from. So here it is, Equalizer. I'm going to start with the general formations. I'll stick to the similar style and reporting method that I did in the first one. I want you to pay attention as we go through these, especially if you're familiar with the other video. And you can see that how the rules, and it'll get you thinking about how the rules are making these differences between the different war types, and how the mechanics of these war rules affect certain teams. So the first thing I'm going to show you is the average survivability rate. So notice 1,111, nice clean number for the amount of teams that I've seen in this war type. And 27.6% is the average survivability rate for a defensive team. This is less than the average of all war types. It's on the low end of the scale. In fact, it's tied with another one for the second lowest. Just to let you know, the lowest is actually 27.2, so it's not far off. There's 3 of them that are way down low. What does this mean? It means it's an attacker's paradise. It means that you're gonna be more successful as an attacker because teams just can't hold up as well on the defense side. It could be an attacker's paradise if you are patient, though. You know, there's 2 things that I've come to realize as an attacker in all these wars and within the game. There's two good indicators to show that you've got discipline as an attacker in Empires and Puzzles wars. The first, of course, for me, is if you have the ability to swallow your pride and flee when you see Mother North about to fire and you don't have a hope in hell of getting a win in that fight. The second is being able to watch the timer on War Equalizer and have the restraint to hold back maybe that one more turn before you fire off a certain hero. Or conversely, if you see a hero that has on the opposite team, that you can get them to trigger slightly before the Equalizer goes off, and then it'll save you a few rounds of extra pain. That as well. So there's definitely some patience that needs to be done there. But this video is about defense, so I digress, and I'll leave it at that. So same criteria, like I said, we're going to go, these are general formations. We're going to look at them as a whole. Obviously, there's nothing to break down with no healers, but I'll go through 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 healers. There's the breakdown in brackets for how many teams were in fit that criteria. We'll start with no healers, and of course your baseline is 27.6% for the average. Again, green is good, yellow is about average, and then if you see a red number, you're on the low end of the scale. So no healers is 29.3%. It's high. It's actually the second highest rated formation for Equalizer. And it's odd because when I first started, well, not when I first started this project, about 5 months into this project, I saw that Equalizer, this was actually the highest. So it slipped a little bit, but it's still way up there. For no healers, no healer formations, it does best in Equalizer wars. It's the highest out of all the war types, coming in at second for its respective war. There's only one more war type that has it in the top 5. So keep all this in mind. Yeah, I'm gonna unpack it all for you as we go, but then put it all together at the end. But keep your mind rolling with this. One healer, 27.8%. It is the 5th best formation overall in Equalizer, and it's the highest rank that one healer gets in all war types. So one healer does better in Equalizer than all other ones. We're going to break it down a bit more afterward. 2 healers, 26.1%. See how we're getting into the red now? And it's not that far off. It's 1.5% off. It's not absolutely terrible, but it's getting down. 3 healers, 22.1%. Only one war type has a lower average for 3 healers. 4 healers, 25%, but we've only had one instance of it. It's not much to go by, even though it kind of fits the sliding scale of what you're seeing here. And of course, 5 healers is 16.7%, even lower. Again, it's only one instance. Honestly, if that person had gotten 50% and lucked out, this would look really weird. But it kind of flows, but I just want to remind you there's only one case for each one of them. And I'm just putting them up so that I'm fully transparent with what data I've got. So now I'm going to break down the one healer, but take a look at this, see how we go from green to red when we look at the amount of healers that we've got. So we're going to break down single healer. Of course, average survivability rates there, 27.6, and one healer overall is basically right on average, just a little bit higher at 27.8. But we're going to break down that 27.8 with one healer at tank, at flank, and on the wing. So at tank, it's 30.9%. So one healer at tank is actually the best rated formation for all of Equalizer. It's not that surprising. It is, so being the highest of the Equalizer, it's the only war type that it is the highest one. But it does rank high in many of the other ones. In 3 of the other 4 wars, it also ranks very high, just not the best formation. I know what you're thinking. Hey, I can disconnect from this now. I don't need to listen. I got the best formation. Well, you know, some of them are pretty close and maybe you want different options. But I would suggest to you that it's also important to know all the other ones, because not just from a defensive standpoint do you want to know this, but maybe on offense too. Maybe you want to see what the really bad formations are so you can pick off the easy targets when you see them on the other side. I found that very helpful as well. So let's keep going. The one healer at flank, we see it dipping down 26.3%. And then when we go to one healer on wing, 25.6%. 25.8%. It keeps going lower as we get further away from that tank. So we're going to break down that one healer on the wing. Remember we did that in the other video, and we really saw that it mattered whether you had a reviving hero or not. So let's see if it's the same thing here. So breaking it down, one healer can revive, or that single healer cannot revive on their wing. When it can revive, 26.3%. That's below the line. That's not what we saw before. So it doesn't work here in Equalizer as well as it does in other wars. And we've got a sample size of 58 different occurrences. That's not one person doing it. There's only 20, well, there's not only, but there's 20 full wars of both sides. So this isn't just because one person was messing that up. And when it cannot revive, 25.3 drops even further by another %, and it is still a terrible idea to do that, to put a non-reviving hero on the wing when you're only using one healer. So not a good idea. We're going to move on to two healers. We're going to break that one down too, just like we did. So two healers overall, the average was 26.1%. It was 1.5% below the average for all of Equalizer. Here's the different breakdowns of a two healer formation. So we got wing flank, wing tank, wing wing, flank flank, and flank tank. Two healers, wing flank, 27.5%. So it's almost right on average. It's not bad. Wing tank, 29.1%. Believe it or not, this is actually the third best formation type that you can use in Equalizer wars. And I found it even further interesting that it's a top 5 formation in 3 different war types. So not only does it perform well here, it does in some other war types, but the wing tank formation is actually quite good. And in this case, it's the third best. Wow. That's not a typo that you're seeing. Wing wing is only 8.8%. Now, granted, yeah, there's only 7 different occurrences of it, and they could have been bad hits. Maybe that's how it performs. I'm not going to hide the numbers. I'm going to give it to you all, and you can make your own assumptions about it. But 8.8% for wing wing, which was not the case for overall for all war types. It's absolutely, I mean, as you can imagine, it's the worst of the bunch, and we'll break it down further after. Flank flank is 22.7%. Not good. It's deep in the red. And flank tank is 27.4%. I want you to notice something with the numbers that you see in front of you right now. And I want you to look at the 2 formations that have tank involved in it. So you got wing tank and you got flank tank. Both of these, they're either average or better when you have that tank, when you have a healer at the tank there. And I also want to draw your attention. You remember that single healer at tank was the best formation for all of Equalizer? Everything should be starting to come together for you right now. So, as I said, we're going to break down that horrific number of 8.8% just to stay consistent with all my videos for my breakdowns. I will not be breaking down 3, 4, and 5 healers. I mean, obviously 5 healers, there's no point in breaking that one down, but 3 and 4 for where they're placed. I just don't have enough data for that, so I'm not going to do that. But I will for 2, and especially with wing wing, because there is that reviver bit to it. So here we go. 2 healers, wing wing, 8.8%, well below the average. If I could put it in black, I would, but you wouldn't even see the number. So it's still red. We'll break it down just like we have before. No revivers, 1 reviver, and both healers on the wings are revivers. So when you put No revivers, no reviving healers on the wings. It's 5.6% out of 3 occurrences. And for one reviver, where one of them is a reviver, 11.3%. That's four of them. Again, I don't think that's a big enough sample, but I don't want to hide it from you, but it's not off to a good start. And it doesn't fit the profile of what works well in this war type as well. And both revivers, there is no data. I don't know why people haven't used it. It's worked well in some other war types, but it's never been used in that full year that I was recording this. So no data. I'd be really interested to see if anybody out there has tried it, and if you have, throw it in the comments. Tell me what kind of successes you've had from it. I'd love to know. And again, I want to break down the tank flank difference. If you recall from the first video, our alliance, we pick a color like everybody else does for the tank, but alternatively, you can put 2 flanks on of that color and then choose any tank you want. So again, these are only stats from our alliance, not from the opponents, because nobody else yet that I've seen does it. Not to say that they aren't out there. But tank of color and flanks of color, it's roughly 15% of people in our alliance will take a flank of color, anywhere between 4 to 5, as opposed to the tank of color. Tank of color, this is your rainbow team, 28.2%. It's above average. And flanks of color is 25.2. This is where I had previously gone into breaking down the difference between using holy and dark relationship between tank and flanks. I don't have data for that here either. We didn't use dark during Equalizer Wars as a tank color for that whole period, so I don't have a breakdown of that. I don't know, maybe in time I'll get some data on how that works outside of within Equalizer. All right, so we're going to sum up. Equalizer summary. Right in the middle there, you see average of the average survivability rate for a team is 27.6%. I'll give you the top 3 and the 3 worst teams that you can do for Equalizer War. Not that you can do. Some of these other teams will definitely do well, but historically, this is how they did. So 2 healers, wing tank, 29.1%. Remember, this formation does well in other war types as well. The second best is no healers. It was the best, and it's just below the best. No other war type has it placed so high up in the ranking for different formations. So no healers is a good way to go for Equalizer Wars. And the best one is single healer at tank. People forget about how good this one is, and I think I know why, and I think it's because healers are not that flashy compared to other heroes that are out there. So, but they're extremely effective. They're buying time for the rest of the team to be able to get their charges up. Anyways, 30.9%, it is the best for Equalizer. Let's get into the worst ones. 2 healers, flank. 22.7%. It's well below average. I grouped this one together for the second worst. 3+ healers together in a formation. So 3, 4, 5, they come in at 22.1, 25%, and 16.7%. It's all garbage. And 2 healers, wing, which was a winner chicken dinner before. It is at 8.8%. I don't have a lot of data. Bad start to it. But when you look at this list, the first thing that comes to mind is that you want to keep your healers to a minimum for the most part. And you also want to keep them towards the center. So single healer at tank. 2 healers, but one of them is a tank. Remember the other formation for 2 healers where one was at tank and the other one was at flank? That one was also a decent formation as well. So keep your healers down to a minimum and then keep them up the center. Keep them away from the sides. All right, that's it for all the numbers. I took up enough of your time. I'll be back soon with the next war type and all the other ones that I haven't done yet. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please hit like. Leave a comment for me to let me know that you liked it or didn't like it. And I will write right back to you. Thanks again. I'm Snake, and I'm here to help you defend yourself.